Well, welcome YouTubers. Welcome back to another episode of 40 Noob NZ. Today we're going to be test riding this wee beast. It's the Benelli TRK502. I'm actually interested in the 502X, so the off-road version of this. This is the only one that they let you test ride though, so we're going to go and have a bit of a crack on this and see how we get on. Quite a nice looking beast. One of the reasons I wanted to give this one a crack is simply because if you don't know much about Benelli, they've been around for 110, 115 years now. They're now owned by a Chinese company, still designed in Italy, but it's owned by a Chinese company who also owns Volvo and Lotus. So basically I'm after the off-road version of this one. It's a combination of various things. 220mm ground clearance, which I'm really liking. The fact that it comes with bash plates and the so it'll come with bash plates and it comes with a centre stand on it. The exhaust actually sweeps up through here rather than down the bottom there, so it just keeps it up and out of the way. It's $117 less per year to register than my current Suzuki V-Strom. It's a LAMS approved bike, this one, even though I'm very close to being able to get my full license. One of the things that I really like about this is just the fact that it's the same amount of horsepower, a little bit less torque than my current bike, but same amount of horsepower. It comes with a whole bunch of stuff, so all of your engine protectors, everything you see on the bike today comes standard. And just the fact that it's about 117 bucks a year less to register per year. It's less on your insurance because it's only a 500cc. So it's there's a whole bunch of things which I'm liking about the look of this. The full version of this with the X, it has everything that you see here, plus wire spoke rims, 19-inch front, 17-inch rear. They're an adventure tourer. You've obviously got a few little hookups there for charging capabilities. So without further ado, let's just get on this thing and see how it performs. Well, right off the bat, I can tell you this one's definitely lower than my present bike. Oh, that clutch is light. So we just go to on, clutch is in, and okay. It's a little parallel twin, 500cc parallel twin. Sounds pretty nippy. Hopefully you can hear that. Alright, so into first gear, that was nice and easy. That clutch is so good. It's a 2-finger clutch. You easily control that with 2 fingers. Whereas my V-Strom, the clutch is definitely a 3 or a 4-finger clutch. So, very warm day here today at 25 degrees. So on the instrument panel, real easy to see. You've got your fuel tank there, your gear selection. Just waiting for this huge line of traffic. So you've got gear selection, you've got engine temperature, you've got kilometers traveled, trip meter, and obviously you have a tachometer, which is analog. Alright, nice, clear, easy to see even with the sun on it, so that's good. Actually, I might just change lanes here. So now we're on the road, not quite flat footing it. I've got a 32-inch inseam, just about flat footing it though. Just can't quite put both heels on the ground. One of them's just a hair off, so that's pretty cool. Be interested just to see how we get on here. Now the the rear brake is in a really good position. I can actually feel that with my foot right now. It has removable rubber for the foot pegs, so when you're off-road, you can eliminate those. Tiny bit of a buzzy feeling through the feet, but not a lot. Around 4,000 RPM. Smooths out a little bit at just above 4,000. Engine is definitely nothing to write home about as far as the noise is concerned. Close that lid up so that you can hear me a bit better. Alright, switchgear is really, really nice to use. Quite affirmative and easy to find. Probably looks a little bit cheaper than the Suzuki stuff, but not by much. Doing the roll on in 4th gear, and that manages it just fine. 65 kilometers an hour, 5th gear. Just adjust those mirrors slightly. There we go. Really good visibility out of those mirrors. %90 of the mirror is clear from my body, which is better than my current bike. So the rear brake is still quite spongy. Gear change is smooth as silk. Probably not quite as good as the Royal Enfield, but pretty gosh darn good. A lot better than the Suzuki. It's pretty good actually. It is pretty good. Considering there's only 98 kilometers on the clock. Cool thing about these is switchable ABS. Yep, still got good roll on. It's not going to blow your socks off. You definitely notice the difference between this and my V-Strom, because even though my V-Strom is a Lamb's version, which is 47 horsepower, it's still got 60 Newton meters of torque. Because the Lambs only affects the horsepower, it doesn't affect your torque. Now they say this bike's 235 kilos. Please bear in mind that there's probably around about 20 kgs worth of extras on this bike. So stuff that you would have to put onto a V-Strom, like crash bars, bash plates, and hand guards, you know, your bark busters, whatever you want to do there, centre stand, all that kind of stuff is all extra weight. So by the time you've gone and put all of that on there, the V-Strom's going to be around about the same as far as weight's concerned. So if you're a learner rider, I would actually already be looking at this. Now it's got a 20 litre tank on it. They're reckoning around about 500 k's to a tank, 500 kilometres to a tank. I don't know what that is, about 350 miles, 300 miles, something like that. So you've got quite the cool range on this. It's really super comfortable as far as my riding triangle is concerned. I feel really upright. It feels very comfortable where the tank is. My legs just naturally hug the tank. I don't actually have to put any effort into it. We'll see very shortly how it goes as far as off-road is concerned, because this bike is, for all intents and purposes, the same as the X version. It's just it has a 17-inch front on it. rather than having a 19-inch front on it. So the TRK502X will be a little bit more capable off-road than what this is going to be. I do like the fact that the tank, actually, you can kind of rest against it. It's quite nice. It's handling the traffic really well, and I'm staying in 6th gear, and I've still got roll-on ability. It's not chugging, and I'm down at 50 kilometers an hour. That's about 30 mile an hour, and it's not struggling on 6th gear. So I really like the affirmative gear change, the really super light clutch cable, or clutch on it. It does remind me a little bit of my scooter as far as the sound's concerned, I have to say, when I had a scooter back in the day. Really good visibility out the side view mirrors, no vibration to speak of. There's a little bit of a high-pitched buzz through the whole bike, but it's not something that's actually going to bother you long term. So I think as a commuter around town, first impressions, I think perfect. It does. Alright, here we go, back into it. Really nice easy start. Okay, back into 1st gear, clicks in nicely. ABS light's still on. Once we get moving, that should switch off. Whoa, that was a bit talkier than I was expecting it to be. Now I'm on road tyres here, so I'm just going to take it easy around all of these bits, but this bike feels lighter off-road than the V-Strom. The V-Strom, I'm always conscious of the weight, and the thing is, with this one being almost the same weight, if not maybe slightly heavier, probably about the same, It seems lighter. Just blind corners and cars flying through, so just take it easy around those corners. Whew, this road's a bit more rutted than I was expecting. A lot of corrugated bits. Let's stand up. Okay, so immediately I see what people are talking about with this, trying to get up over the top of the tank is just actually impossible. I can't lock my knees in there at all, so I'm hanging off of the steering, off of the handlebars. Okay, well that's going to make things interesting. It's just that tank. But yeah, it wants to let the back end go on it, which is kind of fun. So this is just a hard pack gravel road that I use. If you've never seen my channel before, I use this on all of my test rides for all bikes. So I've taken the Royal Enfield Himalayan over here, I've taken my Suzuki V-Strom regularly over here, I've taken the KTM 390 over here. I didn't take the Royal Enfield Interceptor over this because I just didn't think it was fair on the bike. You know, this is supposed to be an adventure orientated, go down a gravel road sort of a bike. So why not, you know? We'll take it over here and see how we go. but I can tell you right now, you will not be standing up on this bike. These ridges on the tank prevent you from being able to grip the tank in any way, shape or form. So this is a gravel road sit down sort of machine. If you're going to be doing anything more severe than that, I suggest this is not going to be the bike for you. And it's the same on the TRK502X. I'm very careful because that backside of mine just wants to slide out all over the place, and I don't really feel like paying the insurance on this $2,000 excess. But light and nimble off-road, feels good. I think this would be absolutely fine for doing gravel roads. Now I believe if I just stop on the side of the road just down here, say, oh yeah, good torque, just feathering the clutch here to be able to get it to this spot, no accelerator, no throttle at all. So if I just go to first, okay, so finding neutral, like a lot of bikes, not that easy. So I believe that this is the ABS button, we'll see. Maybe the ABS isn't switchable on this one, I don't know. Neutral, see how we go here. No, I'm not getting any results there at all. Just trying out the switch gear. So that just seems to be like a dummy switch there for some reason. I'm not sure what that's for. I'm sure you'll be able to tell me in the comments section, but there's one on each side. It doesn't seem to be switching off the ABS anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's not like the other bikes where you just basically got to hold it there for a certain length of time. So not sure what those buttons are for, but like I say, I'm sure that you'll tell me in the comments section. I believe that the 502X has switchable ABS on it. So at any rate, just be a bit careful. It's quite good, because it's torquey enough that the backside wants to go on this off-road, so if you did want to slide it around, that's fine. The only trouble is I don't feel 100% confident in doing so when I can't stand on the bike to be able to control it. But you know, sitting down like a farm bike, this is great, no problems with it at all. Even though it's on road tyres, it still feels relatively good off-road. I'm happy as a clam doing what I'm doing. Right. Alright, let's have a bit of a walk around on it, and we'll just take a look to see how we go. I'm just going to try and flick that into neutral, no issues at that time. Alright, let's go and take a bit of a walk around on the bike, see how we get on. So, it's a liquid cooled 500cc, 47 horsepower, parallel twin, putting 47 newton meters of torque. Twin rotors from Benelli on the front, which are very, I find, responsive. Some people have said that they're not, but I actually think that they're very, very good. Chain drive at the back there. It's got a little mud guard on the back, which I'd probably remove, but anyway, it's there. 17-inch front, 17-inch rear. We have a USB port. Now the windscreen is, I believe, non-adjustable on this particular model, but I'm 6 feet tall, or 5'11" and a half, 32-inch inseam, and I actually find that windscreen is absolutely perfect. Everyone says it looks like a Ducati Multistrada. I can definitely see the differences in it, but I can definitely see what people are talking about. But it's a nice looking bike. Carries a good 2-year warranty on it. And I think that this will be a fantastic learner bike. It's nice and smooth. It's probably at the top end of where I would say learners want to be. If you have never ridden, oh, there's a bit of a, wasn't me. If you've never ridden a bike a day in your life, this isn't going to be too intimidating, but you'll be able to grow into it. 500cc is more than enough. I've been riding a 47 horsepower bike for a number of years now, or for about a year and a half, and I still find 47 horsepower fun. A little bit intimidating when I first got on it, but you soon get used to it. I'd still recommend around the 30 something odd horsepower if you've never ridden a bike before. If you've done a bit of off-road stuff, then or you've got a bit of a grounding with scooters and things, you could probably move up to a 500cc without too many problems. But at any rate, good looking bike. Let's jump back on it again. And we're off. Yeah, that backside just wanted to go again. I don't know if that's the tyres, just not liking being off-road, or whether that's the just, it seems to transfer the torque to the rear wheel a lot nicer than my current bike. The rear brake, ABS is stopping it from locking up, but it does work. It's reasonably responsive. It's happy doing what it's doing. Going down a big hill now, I know it won't look like it too much, but ABS is definitely kicking in here. Half my fuel all of a sudden disappeared. I think that's probably just the hill. Yep, look at that. It's coming back as we're leveling out. Back to half a tank again. Okay, so that may or may not be a thing. Okay, so now we're back on to the twisties. Couldn't switch the indicator off then. So we're in 5th presently. Nice amount of roll on to it. It's nothing bone shattering. There's nothing unpredictable about it. I actually like for a beginner, I like the torque on this more than I like the V-Strom's torque. The V-Strom's just got a little bit too much at 60 Newton meters. Tends to feel a little bit scary for a newbie. This has 47 Newton meters of torque, and I honestly think it's more than enough, but it's not a scary amount. And the way that this flicks into corners, etc., it's so confidence inspiring. Yeah, Benelli know how to make a bike, I can tell you that now. $9,300 versus so this is the base model TRK, $9,300, or you can go for the base model Suzuki V-Strom, roughly the same weight, same power in the lambs, a little bit more torque, and you're looking at $12,000. So sort of $2,500 difference between the two bikes, and that one's going to cost you more each year in insurance, and it's going to cost you more each year in running costs and registration. Because it's a more powerful bike. Well, it's not a more powerful bike, it's about the same, but CC rating is higher. Okay guys, so the conclusion. I've not got long to be able to tell you this, so we'll see how we get on. So the conclusion to this is, on-road, fantastic. Off-road, only because of the tank, probably I'd be sticking to a gravel road maximum. I wouldn't be doing anything else. Beautiful clutch, beautiful gear changing, really nice smooth crisp throttle, absolutely fantastic braking, fantastic rider position, a little bit buzzy, but not so much that you're really going to be too bothered by it, I don't feel. Handling is absolutely fantastic, really confidence inspiring, and doesn't feel heavy. It feels very, very light, tips in and out very nicely. I would say compared to my 2005 V-Strom, this is a better bike. Has ABS as standard, whereas you had to go to about a 2007, I think, or a 2009 for V-Stroms. So you got to consider that, you know, a 2005 V-Strom like I have presently is still going to set you back somewhere in the vicinity of around about 5,000 to 6,000 depending on the condition of it, with no ABS on it, and you're looking at a bike that's 15, 16, coming up 17 years old, whereas these things are $9,990 for the TRK502X, or for the standard TRK502 like I'm riding presently, you're looking at $9,390, I believe, for one of these. It tips in so nicely, it's just beautiful. Far more refined than my present bike. Wind already, it's good clear air thus far. We'll see how we go once we hit the 100k zone, and then we'll put you guys on pause, and we'll have a look to see how it goes in the off-road. Keep reaching for another gear. But you know, 50, 60k an hour through town, go down to 40 here, just about 25 mile an hour, in 6th gear through school zones, and it's not chugging, it's fine. So plenty of torque for around town commuting. It's revving a little high compared to what I'm used to. I'm used to around about 1200 RPM. This is running at around about 1750 at this current point in time. That gear change is beautiful. Very affirmative, so you get a nice affirmative click, but it's not hard to click in, if that makes sense. It just lets you know that, hey, I'm in gear, or, you know, hey, I've shifted. Gosh, it just tips in so nicely. Round town, this is a perler. Like I say, it doesn't feel heavy to move around on the road. In fact, I would say it feels lighter than my V-Strom. V-Strom, of course, having 22 litres in the tank, being a 2005. So I've got an extra 2 litres of fuel sitting there, which is probably about 1.5 kgs or something. Neither here nor there, really. Braking is very good. It's affirmative on that front. A little bit buzzy in 5th gear in the mirrors, just at that RPM. If I go to 5th gear, 3000 RPM, still very clear, but a little bit of buzz in the mirrors. I don't know if you can actually see that one there, especially. As soon as you go to 6th, that disappears. So I think it's just around 4000 RPM as the torque range is starting to kick in. You're getting some issues, but 6th gear, 40, 50, 60 kilometers an hour, absolutely not a problem. It's got the torque to handle that. So we're going to hit the 80k zone here. I think that's around about 45, 50 mile an hour. And 80, there you go. Okay, we're at 4000 RPM at 80 kilometers an hour, 78k an hour, just over 4000 RPM. I think because of the way that the engine's set up, I keep feeling like I've got to flick into another gear. Alright, so here we go out to 100. Well, that's 100. Doesn't take long to get there. And you're looking at around about 5,500 RPM at 100 kilometers an hour. Bearing in mind that this is not necessarily, this is indicated speed, not actual speed. So we're going to get a chance to try the overtaking on it. Try a roll on in 6th gear. As soon as we get past this tree and I can see what's going on, a couple of cars, just wait a bit. Good clean air. I'm not getting any buffeting on my helmet, these sorts of speeds. The buzziness completely disappears by the time it hits 5000 RPM. It's very smooth. Plenty of roll on there. I'm getting no buffeting on my helmet whatsoever. The wind's completely off my chest. So anyway, we shall see you when we hit the off-road section. Been on the bike now about 30 to 40 minutes. My backside is still pretty fresh. When I did hop off the bike before, slight tingling in the fingers after half an hour on the bike. So there are ways and means around that. You can always put some dampers onto your handlebars. It's just like a little bit of rubber that just helps to absorb the vibration. But to be honest with you, I could ride this for hours and not really care when I got off the bike if I was a bit tingly. Really stable off-road. It's very good. Feels like it actually wants to go faster, but on these tyres I just don't want to. There's a bit of the New Zealand countryside for you. Beautiful. But yeah, off-road, the TRK502 is going to do what you want it to. That front brake has a lot of bite to it, it's good. It's going to do what you want it to. No worries at all. Very confidence inspiring, very stable. Pheasant. Yep. Thanks buddy, appreciate it, thank you very much. Just about come a cropper here once before, just because that camber on the road. That was nice and stable even with these tyres on it. It's actually on the KTM that I went whoops. The great thing about this ride is it only takes an hour to be able to get through, and you feel like you've kind of done a bit of everything by the time you get home, which is cool. There we go. Alright, I'll come back to you once we start to hit the twisties.
Hey guys, well that one ended rather abruptly. My memory card ran out of space. I've been having a few problems with memory cards, but don't worry, I've got that one fixed now, so I've got a couple of 256 meg cards which should help me out a wee bit. So what did I think of the Benelli TRK502? Well, I think, as I started to say at the end of the video, it's a great beginner's bike. It's a great bike if you're not a beginner. I think that 500cc is a bit of a sweet spot with engine power, etc, etc. It's not intimidating, but it's also got enough power to be able to get out and pass a vehicle if you need to. Here in New Zealand, most of our riding is done at about 100 to 110 kilometers an hour. I think that's 63 to 70 mile an hour, and it's perfect for doing all of that. It'll do 150, 160 kilometers an hour all day long. So if you're going to be doing a lot of off-road stuff, my suggestion to you is, look, this is probably not the bike for you. Gravel roads, absolutely fine, but anything that's going to be more than that, I wouldn't do. If it's a twin track or a four-wheel drive track, I definitely wouldn't be using this bike to do that job. Apart from that, I thought that it was probably the nicest bike that I'd ever ridden on the road. I think that it's probably got all the bells and tech and whistles that you could ever possibly want It comes with so much gear, you know. I mean, it comes with your bash plates, and it comes with crash bars, and it comes with really good ground clearance of 220 millimeters. It comes with so many other really cool features for an adventure bike. I think it's a great bike to take a look at if that's what you intend to do. If Benelli is ever watching, that tank is bloody awful. You need to actually sculpt that tank so that people can get their thighs around it when they're standing up on the bike doing some off-road stuff. Aside from that, perfect bike, perfect machine for doing just about anything that you want to do. If you've ridden the bike, let me know in the comments section what you thought of it. If you like this video, click and subscribe. It helps me to do more stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. Alright, take care.